Hello. Welcome to the Skeins of Dreams Knitting Podcast. I'm Megha. I'm also known as Skeins of Dreams on Instagram and on Ravelry. Welcome to my channel. If you're a new and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for checking out my video. Today I have a lot of crafting for you. A lot of knitting and a lot of sewing and some painting. I've been indulging in all the crafty shenanigans, and I thought I would come and provide an update on everything that I've been up to. I really liked this setup last time. The light here is amazing because there are French windows behind the camera and a lot of natural light. So I decided that I would continue to record here. I did bring my watermelon peperomia for company to spruce up the corner, but I have to keep an eye on the cats because I can't trust them around plants. I usually have my plants up on a high shelf so they can get to it. I mean, they can, but I fill the shelf so much that the cats cannot gauge or find a landing spot, so they try not to jump on it. But I'm hoping that the plant being next to me is a deterrent. How are you all doing? I hope you have a beverage of choice and some crafting, and let's get started. All right. So I have two big finished objects. I was working on a lot of sweaters as always, and I really focused on getting a couple of them done. One of them is something you can see I'm wearing. So this is actually my most recent finish. I finished my Ankers sweater. I think I finished it today's Sunday. I finished it yesterday morning. So I finished it Saturday morning. I did the second sleeves cuff Saturday morning and then immediately blocked it because I wanted to record this weekend. And I put a fan on it so it dried quickly, and now I'm wearing it. It is done. I will put a picture of me standing in it. I took for Instagram, and I'm in love with this sweater. So the reason I started the sweater was one of my neighbors had a Galentine's event last month in February, and the brief was to wear something pink. And I realized suddenly that I have pink tees, like half sleeve stuff, but I don't have a pink sweater. And I was like, how is that even possible? I have so much pink yarn. It's insane. So I immediately decided I needed a sweater, and I decided that I would make the Ankers sweater. I just liked the fit of the sweater, and I wasn't in the mood for something elaborate. So I just wanted something basic and still interesting. The yoke of the sweater gets done so quickly. I mean, most of you already know about this. This is designed by Petite Knit. I held two yarns together for this. There is some speckling. It's very, very beautiful yarn. The fingering weight is by La Bien-Aimée. It's their Twist Nouveau base, which is a non-superwash fingering weight yarn. The colorway was Nadia. And the mohair is by Knitting for Olive. It's their soft silk mohair in the plum rose color. And I had both of those in stash, and I didn't buy them together, but somehow had this brain wave that I should hold them together. And I actually have the yarns here. So I have one skein of the plum rose, the mohair left, and about 35 grams of this left. I used, surprisingly for my size, I didn't use up all that much of fingering weight, which makes me realize that there's a lot of yarn in stash that I can hold with mohair and knit it at this gauge, and I'll get a sweater, and I don't need a lot of the fingering weight yarn. So I only used 265 grams of the fingering, and then I had 5 skeins of the mohair that I needed. So you can see these two made this final result. I think like the plum rose definitely overpowered, which is fine because this seemed a little too pale to me. Like I wasn't sure what it would do, but what has happened is the speckling shows through and it makes for a beautiful sweater. I'm like super pleased with it, and I have a pink sweater. So notes on it I made. So my bust is typically 46 inch. That's my measurement over a camisole, because usually I wear sweaters with a camisole under it. And I think I started knitting the 43-inch size at the top. I usually start with a smaller size, especially for circular yokes. And after I did, so the pattern already calls for raglan increases after the circular yoke. So it's a combination yoke, and I love these. They fit really well. The ranunculus is also a combination yoke. So I did the circular yoke for the 43-inch size, and then they have given how many raglan increases to do. But because I made a smaller size, I mean, I cast on a smaller size than needed, I had to increase the number of raglans to get to my bust measurement, and it works out really well, and the sweater fits really well, and you'll see in the image of me standing in it. I mean, even here you can see like there's not a lot of positive ease in this, and the sleeves are kind of like exact, and I like that. I usually don't make too long of a sleeve if it's not meant to be a cozy oversized sweater. If it's something I have to wear while working, like I'll wear this to office, and I don't like my cuffs being in the way, and I prefer this sleeve length. I just know how much sleeve length I need now. Like I do 15 inches of stockinette, and then I do 1.5 to 2 inches of ribbing usually, and then I account a little bit for the sleeve to grow, because it will grow slightly, at least ½ inch in the blocking process. So yeah, I increased the number of raglan increases to get to my bust measurement, but other than that, everything pretty. I've reached this stage where sometimes I feel I shouldn't be doing this, but I've gotten so used to making sweaters for myself, I stopped reading the pattern after a while. Like for the sleeves, I never read sleeve instructions, because I just pick up the cast on stitches and then I just decrease every inch, and I like a fitted sleeve, unless I'm doing like a puff sleeve, so I'll just knit straight and then cinch at the end. So I've pretty much become aware of what my measurements are. Like I like an 8-inch cuff. My wrist is 7 inches, but I like a little bit of ease. And honestly, I'm very lazy about switching needle sizes when I knit. I'm telling you all my secrets right off the bat. I'm very, very irritated when I have to switch needle sizes. Unless it's supposed to be a sweater that has a very specific look to it, I get away without switching needle sizes. For example, if I didn't do that for this sweater, but like, let's say the pattern says cast on 100 stitches on a smaller needle, and then change the needle and then carry on knitting. I'll just cast on, like, I know my gauge and everything, so I'll estimate, I'll cast on 90 in the larger needle, and I'll knit the ribbing, and then I'll continue with that needle. I don't know why I do this. I'm like because I don't like my cuffs to be too tight. I don't like my hem to cinch in. So I never use the smaller needle size, because I don't want the ribbing to be, I want the ribbing to be sort of straight with the stockinette. So I manipulate the stitches so it doesn't like bulk too much, but then like this ribbing is knit in the same needle as the stockinette, because I don't want the cuff to cinch in my, I feel like, I don't want to call it a sensory issue, because I don't know if that's the term for it. I just don't like it too close to my skin. Let's just say that. So I do all sorts of nonsense to get to the sweater I want. It's been working for me, and I feel like it's because I've knit a lot of sweaters, too many. The other day, I just randomly said, like, we had friends over, and I said, oh yeah, I have like 40 sweaters or something. And Baljeet goes, what? And why do I have only 3? So I'm like, okay, yes, I'll ramp up the rate of your sweaters. He was just joking, of course, but yeah. So having knit a lot of sweaters, I've made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, and there are a lot of sweaters that I made in the beginning that I cannot wear, or I wouldn't do it that way now. But I feel like now I've gotten to a point where I know what I need to do to get the sweater that I like. Anyway, I went off on a tangent as usual. So yeah, so that's my Ankers sweater, and I'm really pleased with it. It's very comfortable. It's actually still cold here. It's like 0 Celsius, so 32 Fahrenheit over here today, and feels like -4 Celsius. So I'm actually able to wear this very comfortably, and yeah, I like it. And I don't like mohair too close to my neck, and this is perfect. Like, this type of a neck with mohair sweaters is perfect, and I can wear it and I'm not uncomfortable at all. I do have a camisole under this. I have a pink sweater. I'm so excited. I have no idea why. I just like, it blew my mind that I didn't have a pink sweater. The amount of pink yarn I have is insane, really. All right, that's enough about that. The next finished object is my Bermy Basic 20. So I test knit this for Beth McDonaldstone. Beth is doing this massive undertaking where she's releasing patterns for basic sweaters in every gauge possible, so that depending on the yarn you have and the gauge you get, you can pick, you have one basic sweater pattern available to you. So I decided to stripe mine, and you saw this, and if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen that I finished this. So here is my Bermy Basic 20, and it is stunning. I love these colors. I know I was a little iffy about them because, I don't know, this brown was throwing me off. I felt like everything else was like on point, and the brown was, I don't know what, I don't know, it just felt off to me. But I'm really pleased with this sweater. I finished it, I wore it once, and I got compliments on it. So I was like, it's all good. I love the sweater. This is in the Barrett Wool Co. Sport Weight yarn. It's a woolen spun, very light, woolly yarn. Very soft, like next to skin soft. I love the yarn so much. I have a lot of it left over because I bought like so much of it and then obviously didn't use all of it. I'm actually thinking I might make gnomes and put them around the house in this yarn. It'll be so cute because I know that Susan B. Anderson has some gnome patterns as well in this yarn. So I might just buy that pattern because it's meant for this yarn and then follow that. It'll be fun. I'll have matching gnomes to my sweater. So, I mean, it's a basic sweater, circular yoke, 2x2 ribbing, beautiful pattern. Like Beth's pattern was very easy to follow. I made modifications and Beth was okay with us making mods. Like she wanted to show what all you can do with like just a basic pattern. So of course I striped it, and then I wanted the cuff, all the hems and the cuff to be in this orange color, and so I couldn't do another repeat of the stripes because if I did, the sleeve would become too long and then I wouldn't have an orange cuff. So I left the sleeves be like 3/4 length. It's a very nice length on me. I really like it. The sleeves are a bit short and the body is longer than I usually make it because I wanted a orange hem. And if I miss the repeat, like I couldn't end it here, that would just be a crop top. So I had to knit it as long as it needed to be to get the orange hem. But I love it. It blocked beautifully, like it has like drape to it and everything. So this is a 20 stitch gauge. I know 20 stitch, I'm a loose knitter, so on lofty yarns I can do 20 stitches in a sport weight yarn. So this is a sport weight and I used US 3 needle. Yeah, nothing else to say about this. I'm very happy. I'm so glad I have two sweaters and I can wear both of them because it's a little cold. But I am getting a little tired of the... Not that we had a very deep winter this time. It was just off. Like, it gave us like very bright and sunny days, warm days, and then suddenly became cold again. I don't like that. I like the... Obviously, no one likes that. It's nice if it's cold and then like eventually it transitions like it's supposed to, but of course climate change and everything, so we can't really tell what's going on. Anyway, I was not supposed to talk about the climate. I was talking about a striped sweater that I finished and it's done. I'm happy. Fall colors and pink. I am totally on brand today. All right. So those are my finished objects. I obviously didn't finish anything else. These are like pretty massive. I shouldn't say that though. I have been sewing like an insane person. I don't know what has gotten into me. I suddenly realized that I need clothes for my wardrobe because I like have to wear workwear to, you know, I go to the office and everything, but I don't want to buy anything because a lot of the polyester and all of those clothes, I'm not into them at all. So I've been making a lot of stuff myself, and of course I've bought like linen fabric, cotton lawns, viscose, a lot of like natural-ish fabrics so that I can make like long-lasting handmade garments in them. So I've just gone into like a whole sewing thing. I don't want to talk too much about sewing in this video. I kind of wanted to ask if you're interested in sewing content because I know people don't like it if you change up the content of the podcast. So I'm going to talk about a little about sewing, about my current work in progress, but not give you the whole spiel on everything I made because sewing garments get done quickly. I finished a lot of them, but I don't want to go into a whole... I think I might do a separate video about just the sewing. So if you don't have interest in that, you don't have to watch it. But anyway, I went off on a tangent. I do have more knitting, by the way. So I did cast on new things because I finished these two. Like I finished the stripes last week and then I finished the sweater yesterday. So immediately I had things on the, you know, they were waiting for me. They were in queue because I was planning obviously next projects and I was really excited to cast on, but I told myself just finish the Ankers, like have two finished objects so then you can cast on. So now I went off on a whole cast on frenzy and I cast on two projects yesterday. And I have two more planned to cast on. So there's a lot of knitting that's happening, obviously. So let's talk about the works in progress. The first one is I cast on, and my works in progress don't have a lot done on them. They're like, I just cast them on yesterday. So this is the beginning of the Venetian Tank. It's a tank top pattern by Sari Nordland. Of course, I'm getting ready for summer knitting. So I started with the Venetian Tank this year. This is knitting for olive pure silk, and I think this is the plum rose color, and it's being held double. I bought this yarn a while ago and I tried to knit a couple of things. I started a few things trying to knit with this yarn, but it never worked out. But then it has now finally worked out for the Venetian Tank. This is like, I did a twisted, like the pattern asks you, it's a bottom up tank top. So the pattern asks you to do twisted ribbing, and that's what I've done. And I just about started knitting the stockinette. So this is going to be like a chill project where I'm just knitting stockinette until like the armhole shaping and then have to do the tank. And I think it should be done pretty quickly once I finish the body because it's just a tank top, right? Really happy with this lovely fabric it's creating. I'm knitting this on US 4. Is that 3.5 millimeters? I don't know. I'll have to check. Yeah, nothing much to say. I just literally started. I have two other colors in this yarn and now I'm like, this is so nice to work with. I should really think about what I want to do with the other colors. I have a green, obviously. It's like if I like a yarn line, I just buy pinks and greens in it. to start with. I'm like, this is the baseline. I need a pink and I need a green if I like the yarn. So, and I do also have a yellow, but the yellow is very bright, which I do wear bright yellow, but it just has some sort of a quality to it, which I'm like not sure if that's a good yellow for me, but I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind suddenly. But yeah, so this is the beginning of the Venetian Tank. I don't have anything else to say. Oh yeah, I didn't meet gauge, so I'm making a smaller size. So I got a larger gauge than, I think the pattern is a 20 stitch gauge, but I got close to, it was bad. I got like an 18 stitches, but there's no way I can knit this yarn on a smaller needle. So I decided to go with the 18 stitches and I cast on a smaller size. So I'm going to do some math to make sure I can meet the final finished garment and everything. So yeah, not knitting to the size I'm supposed to. What's new, right? Then the next work in progress, or the next cast on, I had made a list of designers at the beginning of the year. If you've been following me and watched a few of my previous episodes, you know that I did that my goal for 2024 is to knit from designers I've not knit from before, and ones that I admire a lot. Like I keep looking at their stuff and I'm like, I should knit this, and then never get to it. So anyway, one of the designers is Rachel, who is the Unwind Knitwear on Instagram. And Rachel has these most exquisite color work patterns. Like, I just love everything. They all look really, really good. And I've always wanted to knit one of her patterns. And she came out with one on Friday. Like, she had been teasing this pattern for a while. And the moment I saw it, I just like, it blew my mind. And I was like, this is it. This is the one that is going to get cast on by me finally. So the pattern is called Apoplystra. I think I'm saying that correctly. Not sure about it. I think the Apoplystra folds is like a, I don't know, it's a natural structure. That's not the right word. It's like rock formations. Anyway, so that the sweater is inspired by that. It's an pretty much all over colorwork sweater in 3 colors. There is some 3-color colorwork like action in it, and I fell in love with the design. Basically, it's a raglan colorwork sweater, which is another thing I've never done before, so it was checking a lot of boxes. And Rachel does a lot of raglan colorwork type sweaters. So anyway, I decided that I want to knit the Apoplystra, and I've just about started, so there isn't a lot to show. You first do the neckline shaping in your main color, and you set up the raglan, and you have a little bit before the colorwork begins, and you end the colorwork a little bit before the hem and the sleeve and all of that. So I would have already put a picture of the design on screen here, so you know what I'm talking about. So I just about began this sweater. It's a 26 stitch gauge, and me being a loose knitter, this is chopstick knitting for me. So this is a US 1.5. It's ridiculous, but I wanted to get this right. And I know colorwork can't, like here, like with mohair, you can get away, right? Like you can get away with the gauge being off, but if the colorwork gauge is not correct, the fabric is not tightly woven enough, right? Like it's too loose to do colorwork if your gauge is not right. So anyway, that's why I'm doing chopstick knitting. Basically, you can't see the needles. It's like sock needles for some people. Anyway, so it'll take me a while to get through this, but I'm hoping the colorwork is like what gets me going with it, because it's colorwork is usually what they say to be potato chippy. So that is the beginning of the Apoplystra. This color is a beautiful, it's called Peach Pumpkin. It's on the Bighorn Sock Base by Naughty Pine Fiber Company. I have this is the yarn label. So I purchased this a while ago, and I think it's called, is it? Yes, it's called Peach Pumpkin. It's Bighorn sock base. Naughty Pine fiber has the most beautiful fall colors ish, like, you know, earthy colors and everything. So it's very, very pretty. And then my contrast color, the other main color in this, is going to be this lovely is it aqua? Something like that. And this is actually by Needles at the Ready. Kevin dyed this yarn and I purchased 3 skeins of it after I came back from Rhinebeck, mostly because I really enjoyed meeting Kevin and Ray from Needles at the Ready. They're so sweet. And I was like, you know what? I should buy their yarn. So I ended up buying this BFL 4-ply base in the color New Growth. It's a very, very nice color. And I've been into this blues and rust and oranges and aqua, I don't know, this color scheme lately. And then my third color is going to be this pretty thing. And this one is by Mel of Mel Makes Stuff. In the last episode, I shared another sweater I'm knitting in her yarn. Suddenly, it's like her yarn is fitting all, like ticking all the check boxes or whatever. But I had got this in a yarn swap with Mel, and this is Whale Street yarn. She used to be a yarn dyer, but doesn't do that anymore. But this is a very, very beautiful pink with some speckles. It's a peachy pink with like speckles, so I think it'll be a beautiful neutral in this combination. So I am excited. I really like these colors, and this is going to be the Apoplystra. And if I get this done, that'll be a massive, like a new designer, all over color work, lovely yarn from 3 very talented people, and raglan color work. So this is a like a perfect sweater. I don't know what to say about it. Like, I'm very excited about it, and I cast this on immediately. As soon as I finished this and I put it for like soaking and everything, I was like, I need to cast it on. I sat up too late getting this done because I was like working on the tank and this. I just wanted to get them to a spot where I don't have to think too much. You know, the setup stuff takes a while. So I cast on both of those and so happy about it. Then the next thing, there are a couple more things I have planned. So Baljeet needs a sweater. I'm planning to knit him a few sweaters, at least 2 to 3 sweaters this year. That's my goal. So I'm gonna spread them out over the year. So if I get one done now and then get one done just before fall and then one in the winter, that would be good enough, and I would have knit myself stuff in between those. So I decided that, so I made the Kerr sweater for Baljeet. Kerr is a pattern by Rebecca Clow, and that was like this epic sweater I made for him because he wears that a lot and he gets a lot of compliments on it. I'll put a picture of him wearing his Kerr sweater here for those of you who are new and haven't seen it before. It is his favorite sweater. He wears that to death, basically. And I get very scared that he's gonna put a hole in that, but it has held up really well. Like, it has pilled very minimally and held up really well, and it looks great even now, and he's worn it a lot. But anyway, I'm making him more sweaters, so there's like more rotation and all of that. But what I especially like is the shape of that sweater on him. Like, it's very like flattering, very easy to throw on, and I think he enjoys wearing it quite a bit. So I decided that he needs another one, but I don't think I'll do the color work because it'll just be too of very specific type of sweaters, but I want the shape. So I'm going to knit the Kerr sweater without the color work. So I'm just doing it plain. And I decided that he gets it in this nice burnt orange. I didn't show him this color. I have taken an executive decision that this is the color of sweater he's getting. Because I know that it'll look good on him, and I'm sure he'll like it once he tries it on. But yeah, this is the color, and it goes with a lot of the things he has in his wardrobe. So I have been obsessing over this color for so long. I just wanted to knit with it. It doesn't have to be me, is what I thought to myself. This is Cascade 220 in the ginger color, and I bought Cascade for some other thing, and I saw this color, and since I've seen this color, it's been sitting in my head, and I was like, I can't justify it for myself because I have an insane amount of yarn for myself, so I've not been buying as much yarn for me, but it's okay to buy yarn for Baljeet because a lot of the colors that I have, or the base that I have those colors on, he can't really wear those. Like, they might be too scratchy for him because he doesn't wear woolly wools. So Cascade 220 is like sturdy and soft, so it works perfectly, and I've made a sweater for him in this base last year. So anyway, all that to say that he's getting a Kerr sweater without the color work in this color, and I'm excited to cast it on. And Cascade 220 is so nice to knit with. Like, it just glides over your needles, and it's like this very comforting knit, and that was my experience last year, so I'm very excited to cast this on actually. And the gauge will be the same, so I don't have to swatch, I have to do nothing, I just have to cast it on. So I'm definitely excited about that. All right, so that's that. And then I was watching Leanne from the Nitty Stew podcast, and I love her videos. She goes to all these places in her for her job, and then she takes beautiful footage of all the cities and towns that she visits, and then I just love her narration in the background when she's going. Like, it's very nice. She gives like a fun fact, and it's so nice to just like hear her talk. Like I kind of want like just hang out with you, Leanne, and then also maybe fly in a flight that you're working on so I can hear you talk. That's weird, but okay. So Leanne was talking about things she wants to cast on, and I have been looking for the perfect cardigan pattern. Like, I don't know, I suddenly realized that I have a lot more pullovers than cardigans, because pullovers are easy to throw on in the winter. Like, you don't have to match the shirt underneath, and it's not a big hassle. And I just suddenly realized that they are so easy to wear in the winters, but in the shoulder seasons I would like more cardigans, and I don't have enough cardigans that fit me well. Or if I have cardigans, I've worn them around the house and now they look kind of rough around the edges. So I wanted more cardigans this year, and Leanne shared this cocktail cardigan by, is it MCN or MCL? Ooh, I forgot. It's a Canadian designer. I'll put it on the screen, but this looked perfect because it's a very basic cardigan and you don't have to pick up. I don't like those. Lately, I've been preferring those button bands that go with the body. Not that I don't mind doing the button band later, but I don't want a horizontal button band. I want the vertical slip stitch button band because I like the look of it. And I did that on one of the cardigans I made a few years ago. But I wanted something like that. And this cardigan, actually, this cocktail cardi, has a satin sleeve. And I have not done a satin sleeve. I did one satin sleeve the year I started knitting or something like that, you know. But of course, I don't have that sweater because for other reasons, it's unwearable. But I don't have an actual satin sleeve sweater that I wear. So I really liked, again, this had a lot of features that I liked, and it looks very basic and very like easy to throw on kind of a thing. So I decided that I'm gonna knit it in this yarn. This is again Blackberry Ridge Woolen Mill. the color is Wild Aster. It's a beautiful, beautiful purple, and I've knit with this yarn before. I just showed you Baljeet's Kerr Sweater, the bronze and the cream sweater. So that was in this yarn, and it's a very, very beautiful yarn. It's by this mill in Wisconsin. They're currently just selling dead stock. They have a lot of stock, and the colors are beautiful. Their website is kind of not too great because the colors shown on the website are not really what you get in real life, but what you get in real life is way better than the pictures online, for sure. So the color saturation is immense, and it's so, so wonderful. So I have this purple, and I thought this would make a very wonderful cocktail cardigan. So that is another thing. So I have like 4 things that I have planned to just cast on, and I'm gonna like rotate and work on them. We'll see what happens. I do still have other things that I had cast on previously, so my cast-ons are going a little out of control again, but I'm gonna do what I want to do, and things will get finished. So 2 sweaters did get finished. So I have assumed this philosophy that if something doesn't get finished, it was never meant to be. You know, so if I like it, I know I will finish it. So sometimes you just have to cast on and see how it feels. So I'm not too concerned about that. So yep, those are the next. Oh, that does make a nice combination. Okay, those are the next cast-ons, and the 2 that I've already cast on I already talked about. So that was pretty much everything knitting that I wanted to talk about. I will quickly talk about the other crafts that I've been indulging in, but I won't go into them too much detail. So I suddenly had this inclination to try paint by numbers. I had been seeing this for a long time, and I didn't know it existed for that long a time, because somebody in the last video commented that they are an older, they said this, not my words, that they're an older person, and paint by numbers was very popular when they were younger. And I was like, what? I never heard of it. Not that, I mean, I heard of it like in the last 5 years, for example. So I didn't know about it before that. So I wanted to kind of see how it works out. So I got a paint by numbers kit. I got a couple of them, but the first one I made the mistake of not getting it framed. And so the canvas came rolled, and I have to stretch the canvas, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so not worth it. But I'm gonna get it stretched at some point. I think it should be easy enough. But I'll show you the one that I bought. I bought 2 kits, obviously, because you can't just buy one of anything. And so I bought the second one with the frame. So I started that first, and I will show you what I got. So this is the paint by numbers that I ended up buying. I did start a little bit of it. I'm not going to show this to you every episode, but I'll maybe show it to you once I get something done. I'm excited about it. This is what it should look like. No idea that's going to happen. Of course, the lighter colors need multiple coats so that you can get rid of the black lines. I read online that some people have also used a white marker to erase the black lines, almost cover them before they start painting. So I'm going to try a bunch of things to see what happens. But the brighter colors are good at hiding the numbers and lines. But this will be so cute if I get this done properly. Even if it's not done like super well, I can still put it up somewhere. It's my house, I can do whatever. So yeah, so that was the paint by numbers that I only worked on it once. It only came like 2 days ago. The other thing I want to just quickly talk about is a sewing project that I'm close to finishing. I finished all the machine work on it. I just have some hand finishing to do. And I made the Kalle shirt dress. This is a pattern by Oh, I'm so bad at remembering which pattern is by which company, so I'm gonna put it on screen because last time I messed it up as well. And I did my first collar. Like, this was so cool to do, like with the collar stand and everything. So you have the collar, the yoke. It has a pop over placket is what they call it. So that, oh sorry, so it has that pop over placket. It's very well hidden in all my stitches, so you can't really see it, but I'm gonna show you. This is the placket, and then I did some sleeve cuffs. The one thing is, it's supposed to be a shirt dress, and I knew that it's one of those really big, it's loose-ish. I've been watching Lauren from Guthrie and Ganny shop and YouTube channel, and I absolutely love everything she talks about. So I've gotten into watching a little sewing YouTube as well. So anyway, so I saw this shirt dress on her, and of course she's a slender person, and it was pretty loose in the back, so I was like, maybe I can try it. I have wider hips than bust, so I have a little bit of a pear shape. So I know that shirt dresses that are straight don't work well for me, but I did grade it, so I made a smaller size at the top and a wider one at the bottom. But what it still does is it bubbles on my back because it's not enough ease around my hips. But anything bigger, a bigger size than that would just look, I would be drowning in it, because this is already pretty big. It has a lot of positive ease. It actually has a box pleat in the back, and this is just 100% linen fabric I purchased from Joann. I'm using a lot of my Joann fabrics before I start using any of the more expensive ones, because I end up buying a lot of fabric at Joann when there's like discounts and everything. I hate mocks that I can't use. I don't like having a pile of muslin in the house, so I still end up using some fabric, but I'm very, very mindful of the size I pick. I spend hours picking the size so that I know that I can get into this or make modifications and this will work for me. So anyway, so when I made it, the shirt dress, it was just bubbling at my butt basically, because my butt was getting in the way and it wouldn't fall straight. So what I ended up doing is making it a split hem at my waist. So this is somewhat similar to Indian kurtis or tunics that we wear. We wear them with leggings, and there's like a longer tunic like shirt on top, and they usually have a split most of the time. Like they can be without splits as well, but like more commonly you'll find them with a split starting at your waist, but because you're wearing leggings you can do that. So I turned this into an Indian kurti basically, and I will wear it with some beige or black leggings. But I'm super happy with it. Currently, I'm in the process of, the only thing left on it to do is I have to put buttons to close the placket, because the placket goes below my bust. So there's no way I can have a thing open that far down. So I have to put some buttons, and I'm going to put fake buttons. Like I'm just going to sew buttons and then sew it through both the layers so it stays closed, but I don't need to button or unbutton the thing, because I'm like, why would I unbutton it, right? Like I can wear it over my head and the button can just stay in place. So that is what I'm doing. And I have a little bit of finishing, like sometimes when you close like the sleeve cuff, I am still a newbie, so I have not, sometimes I miss like it. I pinned it and everything, but I still have to sometimes go in and finish a little bit with hand where I missed catching the other layer. Yeah, but it was a fun and interesting make. The one thing I will say, if you are into sewing and this is on your radar, I didn't think that 100% linen was the right fabric for this, because it was very bulky in places. Like while doing the collar, there were times where I have 4 layers of fabric and one of them is interfaced. So that makes the collar very like sturdy and it stands straight, and maybe that's the way to do it, but it was a lot of layers for my poor sewing machine, so I had to bring my walking foot out, my quilting foot basically, and then use that to move the layers properly through my sewing machine. So the next time I make this, I would make this in a lighter fabric like a cotton lawn or a viscose or something, and that will drape and fall beautifully. And maybe that might work better for my shape also, but I wouldn't make the dress again for myself. I would make a shirt, maybe like a shorter one. So I'm actually very proud of myself for the way this looks. Oh, the light is changing when I hold it up. Anyway, I'm gonna put a picture of me trying it on. It's a selfie through a mirror because I haven't taken a finished object photo because I have not finished sewing the buttons, but you'll see how it looks in general. And I'm very proud of the make. I have become a little sewing crazy currently, but I'm enjoying it, and I feel like it's bringing a sort of work ethic that I need sometimes. Like I'm going in and unpicking stitches and redoing them because they don't have a clean finish, which I didn't think that I had that much attention to detail. I don't have that with a lot of things. I have it with few things. I'm very selective about my attention to detail. Like I won't clean my house if it's dirty. I'm like, okay, who cares? But if someone's coming, I'll clean it. But for myself, I'm like, it's okay. But for my sewing, I'm like, no, that needs to be neat. Like I'm obsessing over it a little bit. So I feel like it's building good work ethic in that way, because sewing, you can't just like, sometimes I feel you can't just get away with anything. You can to some extent, but I feel like I'm getting into that phase where I want the inside to look as nice as the outside. And so yeah, I'm enjoying the whole process. So just quickly, while we're talking about sewing, I do want to share one future next project plans. I have this beautiful blood orange fabric. Again, this is a linen viscose blend. Like the drape on it is very different from, like, this is stiffer. And I have a lot of this, but I'm actually, next weekend, I'm going to see my best friend. I'm driving down to see her, and I decided that I might make the no waist crop top for her. The no waist or the zero waist series is just, you know, this whole effort where you're cutting fabric in a way that you don't waste anything. Pretty much you use every single shape or thing you cut out of it, which makes for very boxy garments, but of course it's zero waste. And I watch Anna from the Brook Willow podcast, and she has beautiful knitting and sewing projects that she shares, and Anna made the zero waste gathered dress, which I really like, but I haven't gotten as far as that. I decided that my friend that I'm going to visit, her fashion sense, you know, she has certain ways she dresses up, and I felt like the zero waist crop top would be really cute on her. I didn't tell her I'm making it. I'm just like doing it, because also the sizing is like, it's oversized, so there's size 1, size 2, so I'm just making the size 1 because she's a much smaller person, and we'll see how it fits her and all of that. But I'm just doing it. I'm like, I want to do this. So I have a lot of this fabric. I don't need this much. Of course, it's supposed to be only 1 yard of fabric that you need, and the rest of it I might make something for myself. I haven't decided what though. I feel like this is a very bright color, but honestly I think I like it on me, so I can make a blouse with it and make a zero waist crop top for my friend. So that's my immediate next sewing project, and I'm actually leaving on Thursday. Today Sunday, I'm leaving on Thursday, so I have to get this top done before then, but I think I can do it. So I think that was everything. I spoke a lot. I feel like I always say that, but usually my episodes are under an hour typically, so it's not bad. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed everything you saw. Please do leave a comment about what you're working on and what you liked. Would you like to see more sewing content? I would very much appreciate any feedback that you have. Thank you so much for watching my videos as always and leaving me wonderful comments. I haven't gotten to replying to a lot of the ones from last time. I don't know, I just got a little derailed with everything. But yeah, I'm so thankful for all of you and for this community. It has been such a wonderful journey coming and talking to you about all my makes and all of this. I'm happy. All right, before I start rambling any further, I will leave now and see you next time. Stay safe and happy crafting. Bye.